Hello! Welcome to Bigfoot Real Encounters. We're glad to have you stop by. We'd also like to take this time to invite you to share your encounter. You can send your stories to the email bfrealencounters@mail.com, where we will feature your story with all of the respect that it deserves. So send your stories in, bfrealencounters@mail.com. We look forward to hearing from you and your great stories soon. Hey everybody, welcome back. We got some stories for you today, and they're from 2020, fairly recent, so let's get started. The first one is from April 2020. The location is in Belmont County in Ohio. And let me see here, there's two guys that were fishing. This is posted on a BFRO, it's public domain. It says, on the evening of April 7, 2020, we decided to do a little catfishing at the creek off Piedmont Lake in Egypt Valley. We backed our truck up to the water, dropped the tailgate, built a fire, and started fishing. This was around 9 p.m. The moon was so full we didn't need a lantern. It was very still and quiet out until we heard a few coyotes howl, followed by some frogs croaking. Across the creek was thick brush and small trees. There was a path that looked like it led down to the water. While sitting on the tailgate, we started to hear a sound of something walking down the side of the creek. You could hear it slowly taking what sounded like a 2-beat step. Too heavy for a deer and too small for a coyote/cat. It hesitated at the pathway, then continued on to the left of us. It then made a loop to the right and came back up only farther away from the bank. Then we heard a hoot owl-like sound very close to where we first heard the brush cracking. Then another hoot farther to the right as we could hear the footsteps fade into the distance. Then about 5 minutes later we heard a tree fall to the right of us across the creek where we heard the footsteps and hoot sounds. After all this, the frogs started croaking again. We fished a little longer and decided it was time to leave. Yeah, I guess so. There was 2 of them there and doing some night fishing for catfish. I've done some of that. And I had a similar experience in Clendenning Lake, Ohio. It's in my first video, Introduction to Bigfoot Real Encounters, which was my first video. And I talked about that on there. You could find that on my channel. It's good. It's a good video to watch. Appreciate it if you would click on it and watch it. But yeah, I mean, that's really creepy. You're out at night and you can't see very far. And you start hearing these sounds, walking and sticks cracking and that type of thing. It can really weird you out. Now this was followed up by a BFRO investigator who said, I contacted the witness and arranged to meet him at the location of the encounter. We met up in Egypt Valley at 4:30 in the afternoon in order to get a good visual of the area in daylight. The Egypt Valley Wildlife Area is over 4,000 acres that spreads across 3 counties, bordered on the north by Piedmont Lake. It was heavily strip mined up through the 90s and still has mining activity to this day. The majority of it was never reclaimed and is deeply scarred and overgrown. The witness had been fishing since just before dark. A little before 11 p.m., they heard something walking east to west on the other side of the 15-foot wide creek. Even though there was a full moon, the brush on the other side of the bank is very thick except for a narrow animal trail that came down to the water's edge. While investigating the area in daylight, there wasn't any area to cross up and down the creek. As they were listening to the footsteps, there was a loud hoot like an owl would make. Just a single hoot beyond the area of the footsteps. It was followed by another single hoot to the west, farther down the creek, in the direction the footsteps were going. There was a loud crashing noise that sounded like a tree being brought down. During the daylight investigation and reviewing satellite images of the area on the other side of the creek, I did not find any access from miles in any direction. During mining activity in the 80s, there were multiple cement tubes that allowed a haul road to cross the creek. They were removed in the 90s, creating a pool of deep water. The only other entrance to the area was near Route 40 over 3 miles away. That access road was closed off and made impassable. So, yeah, this is a very interesting story. I mean, put yourself in their shoes. Out night fishing for catfish, and you start hearing something walking around, that would creep you out pretty much. Or maybe you don't have to put yourself in their shoes. Maybe you had an encounter similar to this. If you did, leave it in the comments below. Or better yet, send it to bfrealencounters@mail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And if you like, we'd love to feature your story on a future video. You can choose not to have us say your name. I mean, we could just call you Bob if you like. I understand. But the one thing that you can know for sure is here on this channel, we will take you seriously. We will never ridicule you or make fun of you because I know these are real. I've had my own experiences. There's no question in my mind. And I have been teased and brushed off and not taken seriously about it. But with me, that's okay. I just have that kind of personality that that doesn't matter to me what people say on that. I know what I experienced, and I mean, anybody that doesn't believe me can just go pound sand. All right? Okay. Looks like we got another story here. Let me get it ready for you. You know, I hope you all like this format and what we're doing here on this channel. Any comments you have or suggestions or something you would like to hear or anything at all that you have concerning what we're doing here, man, I would love to hear. Any type of input that you have will be just wonderful. I would really love to have it, so send it along. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read another story we have here, also from Ohio in Perry County. This is in the Hocking Hills area, which is just southeast of Columbus, Ohio, which is the state's capital. And it looks like it's a large group of people here. Okay, yes. 10 of us rented a cabin in the woods Thursday, October 29th through Sunday, November 1st. It was located in Logan, Ohio, part of Hocking Hills area. Everything was normal till Friday. We all started smelling a nasty smell. Couldn't figure out where it was coming from. Didn't smell it in the cabin, just outside. Late Friday night, after midnight, 2 people were on the deck, and everyone else went to bed. They started hearing loud noises, like branches breaking, and felt like they were being watched. Sometimes it sounded like something was being thrown. They thought it was one of us pranking them. Then came a loud bang near them, so they ran in the cabin from the upper deck. This one guy came into my room and told me what was going on. So, me and another girl went down to the kitchen area, and we all started looking out the windows. I turned all the lights out. Within minutes, the one girl yelled, "There it is!" I went to the kitchen window, and in the field, right in front of me, there stood a large black figure walking on 2 feet towards the cabin. We all started yelling, "What is that?" It then all of a sudden turned and went back into the woods it came from, like it heard us. We then got everyone up and we all went out on the deck and heard weird howling sounds that none of us have ever heard before, and loud noises like branches breaking. Then we heard the loud sounds in front of the cabin to the left. We all moved to the front and heard walking and branches breaking and seeing something moving around. That is where a footprint was found. Oh my goodness. Now, like the last one, they heard the walking and the branches breaking, but this time they saw it. I mean, how creepy is that? Could you imagine looking out and seeing one of these things? Wow. Maybe you have. If you have, tell us about it. Share your story. Now this is saying here, other witnesses, 4 people saw the sighting out of 10. 10 of the witnesses caught the smell, the sounds, the howls, and saw the footprint. But only 4 people saw the tall, dark figure. Oh my goodness. I mean, just put yourself in their shoes and think about how creepy that would be. And if you know of other people who may have a story similar to one of these, or even different, if they've had a strange encounter, send them to my channel to encourage them to share their encounter. We'd be happy to feature them in an upcoming video. Once again, another great story. Thanks for tuning in. Please share your encounter. Email us, bfrealencounters@mail.com. Your story is very important. We will treat it with the respect that it deserves. Also, be sure to smash the like button, share, and subscribe. Thanks once again. We look forward to hearing from you soon. Watch out for our next video. Maybe we'll feature yours. Have a great day.